There comes a point in every man's life when he realizes no one's coming to save him. No mentor, no miracle, no applause. Just you, standing face to face with the weight of your own choices. It's a brutal truth, but a liberating one. Because once you stop waiting for rescue, you finally begin to rise. I've met men who looked strong from the outside, good jobs, confident smiles, gym-built bodies, but inside, they were falling apart. They couldn't handle rejection, failure, or loss. One heartbreak, one bad year, and everything shattered. They weren't weak, they were simply untrained. Because life doesn't forge strength through comfort, it forges it through fire. That's what Stoicism taught me. This ancient philosophy wasn't about sitting still or suppressing emotion. It was about building a mind so steady, so disciplined, that no storm could break it. And let's be honest, men today need that more than ever. We live in a time that tells you to chase comfort, to avoid pain, to distract yourself whenever life feels hard. But what if the very things you're running from, pain, failure, loneliness, are the things meant to make you strong? A friend of mine, a soldier, once told me, "You can't fake calm when bullets start flying. Either you've trained for pressure, or the pressure trains you." That line stuck with me, because the same is true for life. Every crisis is a battlefield, and your mind is either your weapon or your weakness. And that's where the Stoics come in. They believe that strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through discipline, pain, and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius led an empire through plague and war. Epictetus was born a slave, crippled, yet became one of the most respected teachers in history. They didn't talk about being tough. They practiced it, and not by fighting others, but by mastering themselves. So today, we're diving into something real, not motivational fluff, not fake positivity, but 10 harsh Stoic lessons that can transform how a man faces the world. These lessons aren't easy to hear, but they are necessary if you want to live with strength, purpose, and in peace. Because here's the truth, life will not go easy on you. It will test your patience. It will take things you love. It will expose your insecurities and strip away your illusions. And in those moments, when the noise fades and the mask drops, who are you? Are you the man who panics, who blames the world, who collapses at the first sign of pain? Or are you the man who breathes, steadies himself, and says, "All right, what can I control right now?" That's the Stoic mindset. Theirs was not emotionless, but unshakable. One of my coaching clients, a young man in his 30s, told me after his divorce that he felt like his entire identity had collapsed. He said, "I did everything right, worked hard, provided, stayed loyal, and still it fell apart. What's the point?" I told him. Maybe the point isn't to avoid pain. Maybe the point is to learn how to stand through it. A year later, he's not bitter. He's stronger. He's calmer. He doesn't chase validation anymore. He chooses peace, the kind that doesn't depend on anyone else. That's what Stoic strength looks like in real life. It's quiet, it's disciplined, it's earned. So as you watch this video, don't just listen. Reflect. Ask yourself, where am I still waiting to be saved? What am I avoiding because it feels uncomfortable? Am I reacting like a victim or responding like a Stoic? Because these 10 lessons aren't about becoming some cold, emotionless version of a man. They're about becoming a grounded man, one who can face pain without losing peace, one who can be gentle without being weak, one who can lead without needing to dominate. And here's the thing most people miss. A Stoic man isn't one who feels nothing. He's one who feels deeply but is governed by principle, not impulse. He knows that true strength doesn't come from control over others, it comes from control over himself. The world doesn't need more loud men, angry men, or broken men hiding behind pride. It needs men who can stay calm in chaos, men who can love deeply but think clearly, men who can take hits and still keep their character intact, That's what this video is about. It's not about pretending to be invincible. It's about learning to become unbreakable from within. So if you've ever wondered what it really means to be a strong man, not in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of wisdom, stay with me. Because these next 10 lessons will challenge you, humble you, and ultimately forge you. Let's begin. 1. No one is coming to save you. Let's start with the hardest truth. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your boss, not society, not even luck. I know that sounds cold, but it's one of the most freeing realizations a man can have. Because the moment you stop waiting for help, you start building strength. A few years ago, I met a man who had lost everything: his job, his marriage, his home. He told me I kept hoping someone would see how hard I was trying, that someone would step in and fix it. But no one did, and that's when he changed. He stopped asking why me, and started asking what now. The Stoics would have called that the turning point, the moment when dependence dies and discipline is born. Marcus Aurelius ruled over millions of people, yet he wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." That's the lesson. You are not helpless. You are responsible. The world doesn't owe you anything, but it gives you everything you need to rise. 2. Pain is the greatest teacher. Every man wants to grow stronger, but no one wants to suffer. Yet suffering is the only classroom that truly teaches resilience. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Pain isn't the enemy, avoidance is. I once coached a young athlete who tore his knee during training. It ended his season, maybe his career. He was devastated, but during recovery, he discovered something far greater than muscle strength: mental endurance. He told me, that injury broke my body, but it built my patience. That's Stoicism in motion. Pain is feedback. It shows you what still needs to grow, what still needs to be understood. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it refine you. So the next time life hurts, remember, this is the forge. You're not being punished, you're being shaped. 3. Comfort is the enemy of growth. We live in a world built for convenience. Fast food, instant entertainment, one-click everything. But the more comfortable you become, the weaker your spirit grows. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on hard ground, fasting, walking in the cold, to remind themselves that they could survive far more than they thought. Seneca once asked himself, "Is this what I feared?" You see, real strength doesn't come from comfort, it comes from struggle. When you challenge yourself, wake up early, face rejection, do the hard thing even when no one's watching, you're training your mind to stay calm under pressure. I remember a Marine veteran telling me, "Comfort is a silent killer. It doesn't strike fast, it just makes you soft." He was right. If you want to grow, you must seek challenge. Take cold showers, speak your truth, face the hard conversation, because every time you step into discomfort, you remind yourself that you're still alive, still growing. Comfort makes you fragile, challenge makes you free. 4. You are responsible for how you react. One of the greatest marks of maturity is realizing this. You can't control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." A storm doesn't ask your permission, but you decide whether to panic or to act. Someone insults you. You decide whether to get angry or to stay composed. A client once told me, "I can't help it, people just make me mad." I said, "No, they don't. You choose to hand them that power." That's what Stoicism trains, emotional sovereignty. It doesn't mean you suppress emotion, it means you own it. You feel it, you understand it, and then you decide your next move. Think of Marcus Aurelius, leading armies through war, knowing he couldn't control the chaos of men or politics, only his own reasoned mind. If he could find stillness in that, you can find it in your daily storms. react less, reflect more, because calmness is not weakness, it's strength under control. 5. You will die. So live wisely. This lesson shakes most people, but the Stoics embraced it fully. Memento mori, remember that you will die. To the modern ear, that sounds grim, but to the Stoics, it was a call to live with urgency and purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Death isn't the opposite of life, it's a part of it. The man who forgets he will die wastes time chasing things that don't matter. The man who remembers death lives with clarity. He speaks truth, he forgives faster, he loves deeper." I once visited a terminally ill patient in the hospital, a man in his late 60s. He told me, "You know what's funny? I've never felt more alive than I do now. Every minute feels like gold." That moment changed me. He wasn't afraid of dying, he was afraid of not living while he still could. And that's the Stoic way. Don't fear death, fear a life unlived. Because the awareness of death isn't meant to sadden you, it's meant to awaken you. So stop wasting days on resentment, gossip, or fear. Use your time like it's borrowed. Because it is. Wake up every morning knowing it's one more chance to live with honor, purpose, and peace. 6. Discipline beats motivation. Every man wants success, but few are willing to build the habits that lead to it. We wait for motivation, for that spark of inspiration, like it's some kind of miracle fuel. But the Stoics knew better. They didn't rely on motivation, they relied on discipline. Motivation is fragile, it comes and goes with your emotions. Discipline, it stays, especially when you don't feel like it. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. Consistency, not excitement, builds greatness." I once worked with a man who wanted to transform his life. He read every self-help book, started strong for a week, and then quit. When I asked why, he said, "I just lost motivation." I told him, "You don't need motivation, you need standards." The Stoic doesn't ask, "Yes, or do I feel like it?" He asks, "Is it right?" Then he does it, regardless of his mood. That's how you become unstoppable, not by waiting to feel inspired, but by doing the work even when you're tired, bored, or afraid. Discipline is the quiet power that builds empires, restores order, and keeps men grounded. Without it, every dream dies at the first sign of resistance. With it, you can carry any burden and still move forward, step by step, day by day. 7. Control what you can, let go of the rest. If there's one Stoic principle that every strong man must master, it's this: control what you can, let go of what you can't. Most of our stress doesn't come from life itself, it comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. You can't control what others think of you. You can't control the market, the weather, or time. But you can control your attitude, your preparation, and your effort. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." A friend of mine lost his business during the pandemic. For months he couldn't sleep, always thinking, if only I had done this, if only the world was different. But when he finally accepted reality, something changed. He said, "I can't control what happened, but I can control what I do next." That shift turned his breakdown into a breakthrough. This is what Stoicism teaches. Freedom begins the moment you stop arguing with reality. When you release what's beyond your reach, you reclaim your peace. The man who can let go without bitterness is the man who truly owns himself. 8. Solitude builds strength. In a noisy world, silence has become a rare luxury. But for the Stoic, it's a necessity. True strength isn't built in crowds or applause, it's built in solitude. It's in those quiet hours when no one's watching, when the phone is off, when it's just you and your thoughts, that you meet your real self. Most people run from silence because it forces them to confront what's inside, but the Stoic embraces it. He sits with his fears, his flaws, his doubts, and through reflection, he learns to master them. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you can improve. The process is mutual, and sometimes that association is with your own mind." One of my clients once told me he couldn't stand being alone, so I challenged him to spend one weekend completely disconnected. No phone, no social media, no distractions. He said it was uncomfortable at first, but by Sunday he felt a calm he hadn't known in years. He told me, "I didn't realize how much noise I was carrying." That's the truth. It's clarity. A man who knows how to be alone never feels lost in the crowd, because his strength doesn't depend on others, it comes from within. 9. Respect is earned through character. Every man wants respect, but the Stoics knew that respect isn't something you demand, it's something you earn. And not through power, wealth, or words, but through character. Your word, your integrity, your actions when no one's looking, that's where real respect is born. You can't fake it, you can't buy it, you live it every day. Marcus Aurelius never bragged about being emperor. He wrote reminders to himself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. I once knew a construction foreman, tough, quiet, never raised his voice. His workers respected him not because he was the boss, but because he was fair. He worked harder than anyone, admitted his mistakes, and treated everyone with dignity. That's Stoic leadership, strength guided by virtue. Respect that comes from fear fades. Respect that comes from character lasts a lifetime. So stop chasing validation. Start becoming the kind of man whose presence commands respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. 10. Strength is calmness under chaos. This is the final lesson, and perhaps the hardest one. Real strength isn't about aggression, dominance, or control. It's about calmness, the kind of stillness that cannot be shaken no matter what happens. Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, to cease worrying about things beyond our power." In chaos, the untrained man panics. He reacts, he shouts, he loses himself. But the Stoic breathes, he observes, he acts with reason, not emotion. I once saw this in a man whose son had been in a car accident. Everyone else was panicking, but he stood calm, focused, doing what needed to be done. Later, I asked how he stayed so composed. He said, "Freaking out doesn't help my boy. Calmness does. That's strength. It's not loud. It's not violent. It's controlled energy, power in silence. A strong man isn't the one who never feels fear. He's the one who feels it fully, and still stands tall. When the world shakes, he becomes the anchor. When others lose their heads, he becomes the steady hand. Because he understands, storms are temporary, but character is forever." We've just walked through 10 lessons. They aren't easy to live by. They demand sacrifice, honesty, and patience. But that's the price of peace. You see, the Stoics weren't trying to escape pain, they were trying to transform it. And through that transformation, they found something rare. A strength that doesn't need to prove itself, a peace that no chaos can touch. In the final part of this video, we'll bring it all together. How to live these lessons daily, and how through Stoicism, a man forges not just strength, but meaning. Take a deep breath. You've faced the hardest truths, and now you're ready to rise above them. Take a moment. Breathe. You've just walked through 10 Stoic lessons, and if you've made it this far, something inside you already knows. These truths aren't easy, but they're necessary. Because the world doesn't need more men chasing comfort, it needs men who can carry weight with quiet dignity. Men who can stand firm when life burns. Men who can look pain in the eye and say, "You will not break me, you will build me." The Stoics never promised an easy path. They didn't talk about happiness as something to pursue. They spoke of virtue, of discipline, of character. They understood that strength isn't about dominance or perfection. It's about becoming unshakable inside, even when everything outside falls apart. Marcus Aurelius led armies through war and plague, yet he wrote every night to remind himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the essence of being a strong man. Not control over others, but mastery over yourself. Not the absence of emotion, but the courage to feel without being ruled by it. Think about it. When was the last time you faced something that made you question everything? A heartbreak, a betrayal, a loss you didn't see coming? Did it harden you, or did it teach you? The Stoic path isn't about avoiding pain, it's about using it. Every hardship is a forge, every scar is proof that you've been tested, and you're still here. The modern world tells you to seek validation, to prove your worth through achievement, status, or wealth. But the Stoics whisper something different. You are enough when you live with integrity, when you choose discipline over chaos, when you face the world with calm strength. That's what makes a man truly powerful, not muscles, not money, not fame, but mastery of his mind, control of his reactions, and peace within his own soul. And the best part, you don't need anyone's permission to begin. You can start right now, by taking one breath, by practicing one small act of discipline, by choosing not to react, by doing what's right instead of what's easy. That's how men are forged, not in comfort but in clarity, not in victory but in self-mastery. So as you leave this video, remember, life will test you, people will disappoint you, the world will try to shake you. But if you live by these 10 Stoic lessons, you'll walk through chaos with calm eyes, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. If this video spoke to you, if it reminded you of who you're capable of becoming, don't let the lesson fade. Subscribe to Stoic Awakening More, not for numbers or algorithms, but for your own growth. Because every week we dive deeper into Stoic wisdom for the modern world. How to lead, how to heal, how to find peace without losing power. Share your thoughts below. What was the lesson that hit you hardest today? Maybe it was, no one is coming to save you, or pain is the greatest teacher. Your story might be the one that helps another man rise. Like this video if it gave you strength or perspective. It's a small gesture, but it helps this message reach someone who might be struggling right now. Someone who needs to hear that strength can be calm, that masculinity can be peaceful, that wisdom can still matter. And share this message with a friend who's going through something heavy. Sometimes all it takes is one reminder, one sentence, one voice, to shift a life. You see, being a man in today's world isn't about being unbreakable, it's about being unshakable. Stillness, integrity, and strength. That's the Stoic way. This is Stoic Awakening More. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, stay awake. And remember, the fire doesn't destroy the strong man, it forges him.